Hello again everyone. Thought we'd have a change and do some Mexican food today. A Mexican supermarket has just opened up in Graz on Quesabirria. So I thought it was a great opportunity to try a very popular Mexican dish, one that appears to be taking the internet by storm, birria tacos. Well, for this recipe I'm going to follow Pati Jinich, who has a great channel for Mexican food. I'll put a link in the description. You should definitely go and check her out. I can't understand why she's only got about 97,000 subscribers. It's someone who definitely deserves to be over 1 million by now. Anyway, like I say, after you've liked and subscribed to my channel, hopefully, you'll go check her out. And instead of lamb, as she's using, I'm going to be using wild boar. I've got 1.25 kilos of wild boar there. It's actually haunch of wild boar, but shoulder will do very nicely. To this, I'm going to add 40 millilitres of spirit vinegar. And 2 teaspoons of salt, and it will begin the marinade. Mix it all around with your hand, get it all mixed up, and it will start tenderising. And while this is tenderising here, we will then look at the adobo and how to make that. These are the ingredients you're going to need for the adobo, and as I said at the start of the video, they're all available from Mexico in either Graz or Wien. I'll put a link to the website in the description, so you can also order them by mail if you need to. So in no particular order: 2 guajillo chilies, 2 ancho chilies, 3 cascabel chilies, and about 2 small chipotle morita. And I've de-seeded these as much as I could. We've also got some dried spices here. We've got half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of oregano, 1/4 teaspoon of black peppercorns, and 2 cloves with the stems removed. I've also got about a teaspoon of blade mace here and 3 cloves of garlic. So the first thing you need to do before you make your adobo is you're going to have to toast all these chilies. So we're going to do that next in a cast iron skillet. I've only got a medium-sized skillet here, so we're going to have to toast in batches. There's just a little bit of smoke coming off there. So firstly, let's do these guajillo, and we'll throw in a pasilla there. Behind it, I've got about ½ litre of chicken stock. So as these finish toasting, I'm going to throw them straight into the chicken stock to rehydrate. Okay. Keep turning them and checking them, make sure they don't burn, but we want them nicely toasted. I just love the smell of ancho chilies, like demerara sugar, and then when you open them to de-seed them, they're all sticky inside and treacly. They're just wonderful. The smell is amazing. There we are, they're blistering up well there. Okay, in they go. First lot. Get those seeds in. Just turn that down a bit, wee bit. And next pasilla, ancho, cascabel, and morita. Oh, let's turn that down a bit. Take off the heat. They're going to rehydrate nicely. Peppers have cooled down nicely now, so we can pop them in the blender. I don't like to put any hot foods in these polycarbonate blenders. I don't think it does them any good. So let them cool down. First of all, we just take them out. They're all rehydrated really nicely there. In that goes. I also threw the blade mace in here so it could rehydrate a bit. Pour all the liquid in. There we go. That's everything. few seeds behind. That's not a problem. I've got all those dried spices that I actually toasted these in the skillet once I'd finished with the peppers. Then I ground them up. I'm going to put all these in here. And lastly, I've got 3 cloves of garlic that are going to go in as well. Okay, that should do the trick. Let's open it up. Smell. Oh wow, my God, that smells absolutely amazing. I think what I'll do is I'll actually throw a bit of water in there and rinse that out. But first of all, I'm going to mix this up now. In fact, I'm just going to get my hand in there. Let's just put the rest of that marinade in. Got some water in the blender there. Mix it all in there. That's it for the meat and the adobo. Very simple to prepare. It's now just a question of waiting. Apparently the longer you leave it, the better it gets, so 48 hours is no problem. I'm just going to stick with 24, put this in the fridge, and we can throw it in the oven tomorrow. It's been 24 hours now, so it's ready to go in the oven. I've got the oven preheating behind me at about 160 degrees centigrade. Here they are, out of the fridge. Just going to uncover them now. And to slow cook things, I actually use this sauteuse. It normally has a handle here. Well, I remove the handle, and I also remove the handle from the lid so I can sit it on top and it will go in the oven. I find it's very useful actually, and it will be good later on when we want to reduce some of that liquid when it's almost finished cooking. So let's get it all in there. Wonderful dark colour, looks superb. To this, I'm going to add about 120 millilitres of water, just so it's got plenty of moisture while it's slow cooking. It's going to be in for about 3 hours, so obviously I will check it regularly on the hour, but I don't want it to run out of moisture. So let's just get a bit more water in there before we throw it in. Okay. I think that will do. Then I'm going to cover it with foil to get a really tight seal. I've had to kind of fold 2 pieces of foil together here to get over my sauteuse, but that's not a problem. Just fold it down. Another little tip for you, when you're putting something in the oven, don't slide it onto the shelf. Take the shelf out of the oven before you preheat the oven. Put the item on top of the rack and push the whole thing in the oven, much easier. While the meat's cooking in the oven, we've got plenty of time to make some homemade corn tortillas. So here I have about 165 grams of blue masa harina. So this is a special flour, also that I got from Hasa, Mexico in Graz. It's what they call nixtamalized corn flour. So it's not like polenta. It's been treated with slaked lime. It's a process going back thousands of years. It's perfectly safe. And it actually makes the corn more nutritious, and it makes it able to form a dough. So to this, I'm going to start adding water. I'll just see how much it needs, and the water is now at about 60 degrees centigrade. So that's about the right temperature to start mixing in. And just mix it up with your fingers as you go on. I just love the smell of masa harina. It's hard to describe the smell, it's a bit like popcorn. It just smells very nutritious as well. Of course, the blue masa harina is so novel here in Europe. I really love it. I get it all the time. I almost never have yellow flour tortillas. Okay, here we go. It's all come together in a nice ball. Before I start pressing them with my tortilla press here, I'm just going to put them in a bowl and leave it to rest in the fridge for about an hour. Okay, our tortilla dough has been sitting there for about an hour and it's nice and rested now. We can start making this. So I'm going to turn the heat on. I've got a flat pan here. It's like a pancake pan actually. I use that for making tortillas, it works well enough. And I'm going to just heat this up a little bit. I don't want it hot, just to keep them warm so they can go on steaming. Yeah, so you make the tortillas, but they're not finished after they come out of the pan. They have to steam for a few minutes. So I'm just going to turn that on and let it steam. And I've got my tortilla press here and a bit of greaseproof paper that's going to go in the press. Pan's nice and hot, I can ease off on the heat now. Got our ball of masa harina. Going to pop it in the press now. Always press it in both directions. Flip it around. That comes out nice and flat. You can see it's made a beautiful round. Always peel carefully. Peel your paper off very carefully there. Come from this side. There we go. Perfect. Don't slap it in, just lay it on. If you get some brown spots on it, don't worry. That's good, that's flavour. Can do. Wow, well it was a long day with that in the oven and the smell of that wafting out for 4 hours. But it's reduced down nicely now, and what we're going to do is just take 2 forks and start pulling the meat apart here. Wow, and it's coming apart so easily. God, it's just flaking apart. I finished pulling all the meat there in our birria and I had a taste, it's absolutely amazing. So now the time comes to turn our birria into quesabirria. So I have some Oaxaca cheese here, a bit of sour cream, some onion and a bit of salsa verde. First thing, and I've also got my hot plate here. So I'm actually going to use some butter. I'm going to put some butter on here, melt that down. And I've got a tissue here to wipe off any excess. Okay, that will do. And select a tortilla. Let's put that down there to start frying. Get some of this meat. First is the cheese. So I'm going to put some queso Oaxaca on here. As the cheese starts to melt, we're going to get some of this birria on there. I'm going to put a little bit of white onion on there as well. I think I've overfilled it a little bit by the look of it. Let's flip it over the other way. Okay, it's the moment of truth. Got some sour cream, a little bit of salsa verde in there. Let's give it a try. Really looking forward to this. Oh my god. It's just so juicy and rich and meaty. It's absolutely heaven. Wow. Well, that's well worth the effort. So I strongly recommend that you give these quesabirria a try. Get yourself down to House of Mexico, get the ingredients you need. They're very easy to find nowadays, and it's well worth the wait. So Until next time, see you soon.